Hey guys, welcome back to OverTakes. This is Misfit.
And I'm Kel.
And we are here with, I guess it would be our first preseason news show. And we are also going to talk about some, I guess we're going to call it the state of the league before we dive into deep diving into teams, getting into the meat of, the preseason before we start doing predictions and all that kind of stuff. But first, we're going to talk about some things that happened this week. So we had, a nice holiday break. Kel, how was your holiday?
It was good. Went to Vegas, your adopted city. It was pretty awesome. I understand why you like it. I hated the main area. Like, the Strip sucks. It was an awful, terrible place. There were cool things there, but best avoided. But just the overall vibes of the city and everything, like, we definitely considered the whole time we were there, like, do we need to live in the desert? Because we might need to.
Yeah. There's always that, because, when you live there, you don't go down the Strip anyway.
Exactly. That's what I figured.
It's your friends coming to town. You're like, all right, we're going to go down here, and I'm going to go under duress and fuck these people. You're buying the drinks and the dinner. Because I had to drive my ass down here. Yeah. But it's fun. It's just, the city itself is great. I like their... I was here in Cleveland, watching your football team do whatever the fuck that was. Anyway, sorry, man. At least you're not the Cowboys?
I guess so. We have the third worst owner in the NFL, so got that going for us.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's debatable, but...
Right. I mean, it's... No question, Dan Snyder, worst owner in the NFL, maybe all of sports.
Well, considering he didn't know it was fucking New Year's and thought it was Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. We just hired Ron Rivera.
I swear to God, if I don't say that every New Year's Day from now on.
Yes. It's pretty debatable because, at least Jerry Jones and the Cowboys have had a playoff game in the past 20 years. They've won a Super Bowl.
He won a Super Bowl 25 years ago.
Yeah. We've never even been to a Super Bowl, so...
You're welcome.
Fuckers.
Believe me, you wouldn't have wanted to play in those games.
Yeah, probably not anyway, yeah. Didn't you guys just get destroyed by the freaking...
the Giants, the Redskins, and the fucking 49ers.
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't want that.
Yeah, the NFC at that time period was just unstoppable.
Yeah. But, okay, off of all that stuff, I just hung out and played games. I got smurfed in the asshole by, guys, I know a lot of you guys aren't in my level of play. I just don't play enough to level up. I could probably get into an area where I could play quick play without getting my face kicked in like a 3-year-old from a 15-year-old. But, yeah, I just got... smurfed, and, I played some other games and stuff like that, hung out with friends and all that kind of stuff. Wish I was in Vegas, but, that'll happen at some point this year.
Well, actually, it was nicer here than it was in Vegas pretty much the whole time we were there.
In theory.
On Christmas Day, you know what it did there? It was rainy and crappy, and it was like 60 degrees here and sunny, so...
Well, okay, all right. One day out of because the other days it was 50. The cloud cover here was so low it was like dusk all day long.
It was basically the same there. It was weird. I was like, okay. So apparently we just brought Ohio with us.
Yeah,
it's just a little drier.
Yeah, it happens there sometimes. It feels colder here at 50 than it does there to me.
That's fair. Yeah, it definitely.
It's wet.
Right. When the sun came out, it was nice.
Yeah. That's the thing. You get mostly sun. You experience probably 2 of the 12 days of the year that are cloudy out there.
Exactly.
There are the days, though, where the sun literally burns a hole through your retinas and you're, like, melting. Like, I remember one time we had a heat wave out there and it was 120 and my flip-flops were sticking to the ground.
Yikes.
Yeah. But anyway... All right, so guys, just quickly, we're going to talk about where we're going in the next month before the season starts. I mean, outside of other things that could happen, might happen, that are in the works. So we're going to do today, we're going to do State of the League, talk about some news. We're going to talk, after that, we're going to break down the divisions from the conferences. So Atlantic North, Atlantic South, Pacific East, Pacific West, and then a show probably the week that the season starts, predictions, who we think is going to win, while throughout this we're going to do, probably we're going to give it like records and, kind of like where we think these teams are going to fall.
And maybe not by the end of the season, probably like midpoint. Our first half of the season.
Yeah.
And kind of reevaluate that once we get to the All-Star break.
Because there will be a meta shift or two.
Yes.
And we don't even know what the meta is going to be. I mean, yeah, you see tournaments and all that stuff, but you don't know where it's going to go. But we're going to talk about that later in this episode. We got a lot of news we want to talk about first. Okay, so let's get that started.
So starting off, we had a couple of transactions. The big one being, or the biggest one, I guess, and the most hyped one for everybody was Jexy getting picked up by the Outlaws. I mean, hey, it's another upgrade.
Yeah.
Whether or not it's going to be enough, I am still hesitant to say, but I do think that it's a step up from Bonnie. From Bonnie.
Yeah, but how hard is that?
Right. Exactly.
And we're going to talk more about the Outlaws and stuff like that when we dive into stuff, but it changes my opinion a little bit. Mm-hmm. You guys are going to hate me anyway, so it changes my opinion a little bit. I think it gives them a little bit more juice going into the season. How much? I'm not certain. I don't think Jexay is the best main support. Do I think he's better than Bonnie? Yes. Do I think he's going to make a difference? Probably. Is it going to be that big and enough? Don't know. I'm leaning towards no.
Yeah, same. I also lean towards no. I do think they're going to be better, but
they were like 8 and fucking 20.
Right. Exactly.
Or 9 and 19 or something like that, or whatever the hell their record was.
I mean, they might get a little closer to 500 is really about what I'm thinking with this. Like this puts them to maybe be in the conversation still towards the end of the season to sneak into one of those play-in spots.
Yeah, but they also get hardcore fucking poo all over the room.
Exactly. And like that's really the big key. And I just don't I don't know.
I think it makes them better.
Yeah, it does. For sure.
In my mind, it makes them, because initially you're like, oh wow, look at all this. And then you're like, as you look, you're like, well, maybe. And that was the most glaring point to me. So they fixed that, the main support. So we'll see. I mean, it could turn out to be fantastic.
Yeah, and we're definitely going to talk about them more once we start doing our division breakdowns. But so let's move on to the next transactions that happened, and that's Chengdu cleaned a little bit of house this past week, and they dropped Jikirin and Yang Xiaolong.
Yeah, so Jikirin was supposed to be their main tank.
Right.
Not Ameng last year, but he had, I guess he walked from China.
Right.
The way it seems, because when he show up at stage 3?
Yeah, did they put him on a cargo ship or something, and then they lost him in the dock?
They shipped him with some of those cheap electronics from fucking Andy buy on Amazon. Sony TVs.
He came in a Wish package.
I bought the Wish main tank package.
Right. God.
It's a little smaller than I thought it was going to be, but, it doesn't really fit right. I'm going to rate this a fucking 2-star, man. Fuck this.
Right. Oh, God.
No, but him and Yang Xiaolong, both of those guys saw a little bit of playing time. I think I don't think they're done.
No.
I have a weird feeling they're not done. I just think they're taking a long time to do what they need to do.
Right. I feel like they're going to add somebody, but who's it going to be, and is it going to like be enough? Yeah, is it going to make any kind of impact? Because I'm still
on the fence with this team.
Yeah, like no matter what, I'm still like highly questioning everything that's going to happen.
Everybody's super hyped that well, their main tank can play meta now.
Right?
Is he meta really? Because if May's getting played, he's just frozen and dead.
Mm-hmm.
At that level, especially.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, but we'll see what happens. It's not surprising that they're clearing out a little bit. I thought Young Xiaolong was pretty good. I don't know if he'll get picked up tier 1. He might get into a tier 2 situation.
Yeah.
He didn't. He had moments where he was really good. Jakiran didn't impress me at all. I mean, the little amount of time I saw him play, it was kind of like whatever.
Right.
I feel like did have some good moments where he looked like he belonged in the league, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But at this point, I don't know, where that stands as far as he goes.
Agreed.
But we also had some other news outside of the player arena and the different stuff. A couple of big things happened, actually, and it's going to lead into some of our main discussion.
Yeah.
But if you want to call it that today. So 2 big names left the talent squad in Monte Cristo and Puckett. Let's talk Monte Cristo first because he's the biggest.
Yes.
So he left League to help form the esports scene for
Well,
Overwatch.
I mean, he was a major player in League. I mean, he was like...
He was one of the faces and all that stuff.
Yeah, he was one of the faces of League esports and all of that. Like, he was huge.
I mean, how many times have you seen the train whistle fucking gif?
Exactly.
With him.
Right.
And that was like, I think in 2014 or something. That wasn't even like, that wasn't like yesterday.
Right. Like that's one of the earlier fucking memes with that. So yeah, him moving on, and he put out a really long Twitter thread. I'm sure most of you guys have already seen it. If you haven't, check it out. It's worth reading. Because I mean, it's 12 tweets, but 12 tweets is like 2 paragraphs.
Yeah.
If we're really if we're really talking about it.
I mean, he could have done a tweet longer, but
yeah,
whatever.
Yeah, but anyway, he really just kind of goes through, and the one that sticks out is that it all kind of started once Nate Nanzer left, and that's when there started to be creative differences. And he just didn't like the direction that the league is going, and he pointed towards the hiring of so many people from traditional sports, and how he didn't like that at all, and he's not a fan of going away from the core audience and trying to pick up a different audience because that's not people. Yeah, and I get it from that perspective. I get it, but at the same time, I think
one of the things is, to put it like not necessarily, this is probably the wrong word, but he didn't like the way that they wanted to normalize it.
Yes.
He wanted to still be like an esports kind of thing. He didn't want them to bring it. He wanted them to bring esports mainstream, kind of, in his vision. And I'm just kind of going on speculation, but he didn't want them to normalize it in the production value and the system and the way it was run.
And make it just that kind of sterile ESPN, straight discussion, not really having fun with it type of thing, and like treating it like what it is, and it's a game. Like, you're playing a video game professionally. Like, and we got to call it what it is.
Yeah. And you got to have fun with it. You can be serious. And he was the best at being serious about esports and Overwatch and whatever else he's done. But he also has that side of where he can have fun with it. Mm-hmm. He can play the fucking heel
Right, and it really is about striking that balance, and I think that was his big reason for leaving, is because he felt like that went away, and I can understand why he made the decision that he did.
Yeah,
I really can.
Because, well, first off, you're not going to pull a lot of some of the audience that they're trying to pull, and this is going to be a weird. Hold on, guys. This is a weird tangent. I've been involved in the craft beer scene for about 15 years, and I partook in it like earlier than that in bits and pieces. What happens is when you get in, I don't want to call craft beer like a niche thing. It's a different thing than the norm, like esports. Mm-hmm. So all of a sudden, you have this thing that people are starting to get into, and they like it a lot. What happens is people start to want to mainstream it. They want to streamline it. They want to make it like Budweiser. They want to make it like Coors. They want to have marketing. They want to have a marketing plan. They want to have a growth plan. They want to have this plan. They want to have that plan. Instead of taking it for what it is, which is something different than what the normal asshole drinks on a Saturday afternoon.
Exactly.
And that's what esports is. It's different than a dude sitting down watching baseball. Or watching football, or basketball, or whatever. Mm-hmm. It's a different thing.
It is.
They want to make it normalized, and it's not something I don't like normalizing esports either.
Yeah,
in some ways I like. It's because I'm a sports fan.
Yeah, there are definitely things you can learn, but I think his big issue, and I totally understand this, is that they just weren't even, like, a lot of these guys that they brought in just weren't even listening to anything else. They're just like, why would we do that? That's not how we would do it in sports. So,
because what they don't understand is 60% of your, I'm guessing 60% of your audience could give a fuck about sports.
Right. Absolutely.
I mean, how many guys do we know that, like, they're like, we do sports references. They're like, yeah, that's not really our thing because we don't watch that shit.
Right.
And that's fine. That's
half of the other podcasters we talk to, like, some of them know sports, but other guys really don't. And
they don't care to. They want to know esports. They like video games. I mean, that's their thing. It brings up other issues too.
It does.
Because
it kind of starts. I mean, let's talk about Puckett as well. It seems like with him, it's a little bit of a different situation. He didn't come out and say exactly what.
He said his girlfriend got a new job in New York City, so he's moving back and he's not coming back to Overwatch League.
Right. I don't think he's fully.
I don't think he's gone totally.
He might be leaving. Yeah, I think he's kind of on the same terms as Golden Boy. He's probably got other opportunities with either a different esport or something like that. I would be shocked if he is just not doing anything.
Yeah.
So with Puckett, it's a little bit different. But really, Monty leaving is the big deal. But I mean, both of them are both like well-known, iconic, well-respected esports guys. So
and they brought cred.
Yes, they did.
They brought esports cred because, I mean, not that any of the other people didn't. They're all kind of like, Zoe was in other stuff, and Uber was in other stuff, but
they were lesser known people, and
right,
like they didn't have that clout. It's like, if you're going to compare it to a regular like traditional sports, it's similar to when ESPN took over Monday Night Football, and then NBC was like, well, we're going to take Al Michaels, because that's the guy that has the clout.
Yeah.
Like, if you guys aren't going to do that, then we'll take him.
Yeah, exactly. And those two guys brought clout, and they brought a little bit of legitimacy to it. And there was a lot of things, and we talked about this off the air with some of the production and some of the stuff that was done last year that went in a direction that, me personally, I wasn't the biggest fan of.
Yeah.
And I know Monty wasn't a fan of it either. And I don't know what Puckett's stance was, because you can tell Monty was not thrilled with some of the stuff that's going on just by the way he talks.
Right.
Puckett's a dude that will... I like him because he always has the positive.
Yes.
And Monty's the straight talker. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's like, this is fucked.
Monty's the no bullshit.
Yeah.
He doesn't pull any punches.
Yeah.
He will say his opinion. Whereas Puckett is kind of the, like, hey, like, get everybody amped up even for a match that no one really gives a shit about.
Yeah.
Whereas
Exactly.
Monty's like, these two teams are terrible. Why are we casting this?
Well, yeah, we're just casting a shit show right here, so get ready.
Exactly.
Like a couple of times with Chengdu, I know it was like Chengdu and the Mayhem. They did one of those ones like that, and it's just like, well,
here we go.
Yep. Get ready. This is gonna be something. I don't know what it is.
This is what it is.
Yeah, but like some of the things like we were talking about, like they got rid of that midweek watch point.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like that person. I liked the show. I didn't like them getting rid of that.
Agreed. I definitely agree.
And that was one of the things where Monty kind of shined because they were doing skits and they were doing weird stuff that was funny and fun, and it kind of kept the days off. For the people that weren't as invested as us,
Mm-hmm.
That were like, on Monday I'm watching matches and going back over stuff, going holy shit, and Other people are just like, okay, well, that was done for the weekend or the week, and I'm not going to talk about it again until Thursday when the games come back on.
Right.
But they brought this fun element to it that I think he had a big role in, and it kind of kept the flavor of things going the whole year, like the whole season, without dead time.
Exactly. And I think with him, he and just that midweek watch point show, just it had so much more to it than just the here's the desk, we're gonna go over the day and do this and blah 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 blah.
Like and Bren and fucking Sideshow are gonna clown Fiesta for 5 minutes here on something.
Exactly. Right. Whereas they would do the skits, they would do some breakdowns, more in-depth breakdowns. It was just a lot more going on, and it was honestly fun.
Not to be weird, it was more like a traditional sports thing in midweek.
It was,
but with an esports twist to it.
Exactly, and I think that was the best combination of the two things that they had going, and they got rid of it, and that was definitely a big bummer. You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of the early seasons of Inside Stuff from the NBA.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly. It had that vibe to it.
Yes.
Where it was just fun.
Mm-hmm. It was fun. They didn't really take it too seriously, but, they could still have serious things and serious topics, but, there was just a lightness to it. But, there was still some fun things going on. It was really well done, and I loved watching that show as a kid, and I definitely got those same vibes from that early watch point. So I'm hoping that that's maybe something that comes back, or just something like that, maybe some kind of thing like that. Yeah. And were you, especially with the way that this season is going to be structured, they definitely need some kind of midweek thing.
Yeah, because you just got weekends. You got to keep it flowing.
You just have weekends, and then you're going to have games that not everybody's going to be able to watch. To be honest, you want to be able to have people discuss these games that are going to happen at 3-4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, and to be honest, even for us, when we do our things, if we do our Sunday night stream, there's going to be games in progress some weeks.
Yeah, absolutely.
But back to the inside stuff. So were you like me and you just wondered where Ahmad Rashad slept at the Jordan household? Did he actually sleep with Michael as a pillow, or
anyway. Michael used him as a pillow?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Oh, guys, look it up.
Yeah.
If you know nothing of inside stuff and the relationship between Ahmad Rashad and fucking Michael Jordan. Oh. Yeah, so I want. That's one of the things I want to come back. They need something like that midweek. But so some of the stuff we started talking about later in that last little bit we were talking about, it's going to kind of travel. we have all this travel, and we're just going to start diving into the thoughts on where the season's going to go.
Yeah.
What we would like to see and what we think could possibly happen. We're just kind of going over bits and pieces of what the league we think kind of in our mind needs to get jump started, get going, especially after like you lose somebody like Monty, you lose somebody like Puckett. They're going to fill the desk in just fine, I think. I mean, Puckett did keep tabs on the shenanigans and the tomfoolery.
Kept things moving and all that.
And the shit show that it could become, within, literally seconds. Which makes it fun, but... It does. He would just pull it back in. I think... Right. I'm assuming they're going to have Malik do a lot more. He can do that pretty good. But... Yeah. So, things like...
So, I think the big thing with travel is... How exactly are they going to structure it? We still haven't really gotten too much as far as how things are going to be structured, as far as broadcasts. Are they going to have a desk team go to each homestand, and then as well as probably one or two pairs of casters?
Yeah, because they already said they're going to do a centralized.
Or are they going to do the centralized thing? Which I think at least for the desk, I think it makes sense.
Right. I mean, that's a traditional sports thing, but it makes sense.
Right.
Because even in other esports, they're at the big events, but you're doing little tournaments here and there. You got people there, and then you have, it's like a 3-layer thing. You got your main desk, you got guys at the event, and then you have your casters.
Yeah.
Because at the events themselves, because we're going to the Toronto one, but I think you got to have that hype train.
Yeah.
There.
Well, I feel like they've got to probably have at least probably the translators. I have a feeling we're probably going to get a few more people like that, like Danny and
Misha Burton,
and those times. I feel like we're probably going to get an additional few more of those people.
I always forget what the Chinese girl's name is.
I know, right?
And she's actually one of the better ones too. She
really is.
They're all really good too. So they have that, but you just can't have 3 of them going around the fucking world.
Right.
See, this is one of the issues with the league. I think that brings frustration to people like Monty. I don't know if he was as down with the globalizing. At first it's that's a fantastic idea. Let's do that, and then after you sit down,
and then you start doing it, and in theory, you're like, "Oh, wait, this is a lot."
And that's these 20-year-olds all over the world.
Yeah,
you got to find hotel rooms and all that. You got to have venues. You got to have setups. You got to have equipment. You got to have talent, layers of talent, because you're in 2 different places at once, and then that talent's got to travel around to different spots. Yeah, exactly. So I mean, it's going to be interesting to see where that goes, but. I do think they need to have some sort of presence at the events for the travel, just for the fans that are there. Because you need people. Absolutely. You got to have some of that hype.
Right, and from that perspective, I don't know how to feel about it, and I think this is going to be a very telling.
Yeah, this season. Is a big year for the league.
It really is
beyond big. It is. It's not. I don't want to say do or die. It is close to that.
But it's real close to that. It really is. It's so vital that they can make it kind of work. Or they have to make it work, because a lot of these teams, the teams so far are making money, but for them to really make it work and for it to become a profitable thing, the homestands are where that's going to come.
Yeah.
And I get why they are doing the homestands the way they are. But I am worried that it's just a little bit too much too soon.
Yeah, it makes sense to a point.
Yeah.
It's better. You can't, in esports, I don't think you can do the, baseball, football model with the you got 8 home games, 8 away games, and that's how it's going to work.
Yeah,
or,
no.
81, however the amount of games, you split it down the middle. You're playing this.
It's definitely not going to happen that way in esports, especially if you're trying to do a worldwide thing. Maybe if you were
just doing a continental.
Yeah.
I think I've said this before, I think it could work if at some point you had divisions of North America, Asia, Europe, and then I pick whatever other region has a decent amount you can have teams in that could support something.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you have like that, and then you globally have your championship. You won North America, you won Asia, you won Europe, and you won, say, Australia, Southeast Asia.
Right, which essentially is what they should be doing with their tier 2 thing, but we'll get to that. But yeah, and it actually kind of is what they did. But yeah, like the travel really is going to be such a major thing for this year, and seeing kind of how that all plays out, especially for some of these teams that, I mean, they have to travel so much. Like they're traveling more than like even most like professional football and basketball players or like basketball teams are doing,
or baseball or whatever sport, because they're going everywhere. And
like I think, is it Seoul? Or who is it that has to travel the most? I think it's Seoul, right?
It might be Seoul.
And they have to travel like, I know there's a team that has to travel like 27,000 miles over the course of this season.
And then you have Washington, who doesn't leave the continental United States. Which
even though they're playing everybody, they still only are, like they're doing, like all their homestands are within like a couple 100 miles of Washington.
Yeah. Well, and they have 5 homestands.
Yeah, they have 5 homestands themselves, and then all the other ones that they're going to be going to are like Philly, New York, Atlanta.
I think do they go to Toronto, or I think they go to Florida.
They either go to Florida or Toronto is like the furthest one away that they go.
I think they Dallas or something like Houston.
I think they travel a total of like a couple thousand miles.
like half of what like Seoul is.
Oh, but less than half. It's like a third or a quarter of what Seoul is traveling.
That being said, though, flying to Vancouver and flying to Paris
back to Seoul, oh god, yeah,
that's probably about the same distance from Washington.
No kidding.
But the travel is going to be a big, the travel / homestand thing is huge for the league. Mm-hmm. And just real quick back on just a little speculation. Who do you think is going to pair up with Doa?
I'm really curious. I think it might be Hex, and then they would put. There might be somebody else that comes in too, because I think I feel like there has to be at least one more casting crew. Like I know we're getting Jake, but that's just one guy. That's the only like other confirmed caster we're getting so far.
Yeah, because Semler left.
Yeah, Semler. So now Semler and Monty are gone. So you probably put Doa with Hex, but then who do you put?
I would love to see. I think I said before too. I'd love to see Lemon Kiwi in him.
Yeah, that would be really great.
But yeah, I just wanted to throw. I totally forgot about that earlier. I was like, where are we getting? Because Doa pretty much seems like he's staying.
Yeah, and it seems like he really wants to stay. It's just a matter of getting his contract situation taken care of, and I think they will get that figured out. But it's really a matter of how many other people are going to be coming in, because I feel like they have to bring in some more, just because the logistics of everything with the travel and all of that is going to really require that. Yeah.
So let's dive into some of the stuff for season 3, the 2020 season, however you want to. Whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, so we're getting into season 3 of Overwatch League, 2020 season, whatever you want to call it. But so the big thing, I guess, the big question going into it right now, other than the travel and all the logistics of things, and just looking at it from a game perspective, is what's the meta gonna be?
Yeah.
So in the upper tiers of play at this moment, It seems like double shield. Basically, Sigma at Orisa never really went away. It just got faster.
Yeah, exactly. Murder cow.
It's the max power of goats, basically.
Yeah.
Or double shield.
And, I mean, this
the wrong way, but faster.
It's from what it seems like, even watching a little bit of the tournament stuff, it's definitely going to be like a Orisa Sigma with some Rhine thrown in, some ball thrown in.
Yeah.
I think your mainstays, Orisa is not going anywhere.
Yeah, Orisa is definitely solidified as like a pretty much a must pick. And then that being said, I mean that throws so many teams in such a weird spot because you have so many of these guys who have basically only played Diva their entire professional career and pretty much their entire
and with a little
playing Overwatch.
Yeah, with a little bit of Roadhog thrown in.
Yeah, here and there, but for the most part, a lot of these guys, as far as
Diva mains,
are Diva mains. Yeah, exactly.
Which is my biggest contention when people start talking best off tanks in the league. A lot of them aren't versatile. They were what you thought of season 1.
Exactly.
You're going over stuff. I mean, yeah, they played some different stuff, but let's we forget last year 3 stages that everyone, or at least 2 in it, they were playing a lot of Diva.
Mm-hmm.
Still, I mean, in a different capacity, using it in a different way, not like in a dive sense, but they were playing Diva, eating grabs and doing.
Just eating all kinds of different stuff and just using your defense matrix to negate so many different things. And now you have so many beams and just all these other things that
and shields, and she does no damage. She doesn't do anything anymore.
Yeah, she might as well just go up and tickle people at certain points.
So I mean,
no Diva, and so I think it's going to really the big thing that we've established with it is that the teams like San Francisco, what New York did, to an extent Vancouver, these teams that just have a lot of versatility on their roster are the teams that are really going to make the biggest impact. And that's going to be how to really build a team.
Yeah, exactly.
Anymore.
And the supports, like if you move on to another side, the supports are the interesting one because you can pretty much slot anybody in.
Right.
Baptiste, Moira, Zen, and probably Mercy here and there are going to be your main 4 that you're going to see. You're going to see some Lucio, some Anna, depending on, if barriers go away, you're going to see a lot of Anna.
Yeah. But I still think Lucio is almost always a must pick for these guys. The speed is so invaluable.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be a definite.
Well, like on your control maps and whatnot. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like for a lot of situations, he's going to be picked a lot, but Bap right now with how powerful and overpowered he is.
Yeah. We've been playing him a little bit too.
Yeah. He is ridiculous.
You're just like, oh, okay, I'll do this.
Just brings so much and can do so many things so well that, I mean, you have to pick him.
Yeah, you do. And obviously, these guys, I'm sure, have been grinding him the whole off season.
Exactly.
Kind of like we saw with a little bit with Brig. We saw people playing with it a little bit. Mm-hmm. Like we had Rascal, and I'm sure, like this year, you're gonna get guys, and you're gonna be like, "Where the hell did he pull that out of?"
Right.
Like I didn't know Shaz was that good, or Big Goose was that good at fucking Baptiste.
Hit scan.
Just for an example, you know what I mean?
Right. like damn, how are these guys so good at hit scan? Like look at these shots they're making. And then I'm actually really excited to see some of the Bap play. Despite people's gripes with how OP he is. I think it's going to be still really fun to watch.
Well, it's the general feel of every hero that comes in Overwatch. Oh, I love their kit. Then there's one part of their kit that you need to delete. Fuck this hero.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is the lamp.
Yeah.
I have to admit, though, that is kind of... Sometimes it's bullshit, but...
Yeah, it really can be.
You still can shoot it.
Yeah, some people forget that.
Yeah. Especially at my level, they don't realize you can do anything. Unless they're beating the shit out of me as in a Smurf sense. We get DPS back, kind of.
Yeah. But we just mostly are going to see a lot of, not as much Reaper.
Tank.
Yeah, but you're going to see a ton of Mei.
A ton of Hanzo.
And a ton of Hanzo. There will be occasions where we're going to get some Widow.
Yeah.
But if you play Widow, it's probably going to be double sniper, so you're going to get Widow Hanzo.
Yeah, I think so. You're going to see some Doomfist, too. Yep,
and you're going to see a lot of Doomfist.
The easiest way to negate the fucking lamp is to punch somebody out of it.
Right. Exactly.
It sounds like a simple solution. It's like the Superman solution. Well, right. I'm just going to punch my way through this. That's pretty much what Doomfist is there for. But his abilities knock people, like even his uppercut, you get knocked out of the lamp, anyway. It's going to be a little different than it was last year, but I have some concerns like what the optics are going to be. I'm one of the people that, I didn't necessarily like GOATs, but I liked it from the standpoint of I could watch it and I could kind of figure out what's going on.
Yeah, I agree. This
is kind of similar. You have the shields and you have the way Orisa plays, the halts and the pulls. It's going to be a little bit more dynamic. Mm-hmm. But it's not going to be like that crazy, all right, we're trying to figure out what's going on with this dive comp that they're doing. And we didn't notice Prophet running around in the back line with Tracer shooting everybody in the face.
Right.
It's a little bit more upfront because, you have Hanzos and you have Doomfist running around, but it's not as frenetic and it's not as flanky, right. I guess.
So, yeah, to start, I think it's going to be kind of a cross between what we had with GOATs and what we had with Dive.
Yeah.
Dive could definitely get crazy, but I think for the most part it was pretty watchable.
Oh, yeah.
It was very watchable. There was definitely times where you didn't get to see something in the moment, but
there's definitely more highlight reel material.
Exactly. Whereas with GOATs, it's like you got to see pretty much everything. Everything happened so fast when it did happen that there really wasn't much to see in the first place.
Yeah. And, GOATs was like that. There was that everybody got their ults up and then it was the light show.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Diva bombs and grabs and then transcendence like things going all over the place, and then the dust clears and one person died.
Right.
If that. But yeah, the meta's going to be interesting to start. I just can't wait for the league to start.
Yeah, I'm getting really hyped.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
We're like 4 weeks away. 5. So yeah, that's kind of the meta talk for now.
Right.
Barring any big balance patches or hero drops, which aren't going to be involved.
I do suspect that there's going to be another big balance patch hitting the PTR in the next couple of weeks. I would be shocked if there's not. It's definitely not going to come out in time for the league to start.
No.
But I think it will come out probably by the end of February, beginning of March.
Oh, yeah.
So like a couple of weeks into it. And that could really shake things up quite a bit depending on what they do.
And that's another thing. They never really said how they're going to address balance patches.
Yes.
There's
Is
a lot
it
of
going to be
stuff
week to week? Like if something kind of comes and starts at it's like, okay, this is out now. Here you go.
Yeah. Are they going to do that? Or because once you get past that halfway point, where are you going to go with a balance patch?
Right.
If you're doing it like they did it before, like on stages, you have nowhere else to go.
Right.
And you can't run your league on a balance patch that's 4 months old.
Definitely not.
No.
You got to try to be as up to date as possible, but you also don't want to make it nearly impossible for your.
You don't want to make it dumb for the players.
Exactly. So let's talk a little bit about the tournaments and the Winter Mayhem Classic and kind of how we think that could really influence like the tier 2 and 3 thing and maybe that's kind of a sign of things to come.
Yeah, and keeping it fresh.
Yes.
Like in the off season and stuff too. All right, that's kind of what we got on the meta type discussion, like about all that kind of stuff. We want to talk a little bit about, I mean, we're not big watchers of tier 2, tier 3, but we want to talk about some of the things that we think that could make it more of an experience for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the things that have been happening, and we're gonna lead in with this, the tournaments that have been happening. We had the Breaking Barriers tournament for the last 2 weekends that were fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
It's competitive.
Absolutely.
It's competitive Overwatch. I got to see some people that I didn't see.
Mm-hmm.
Because I focus so much on watching Overwatch League that I don't have time sometimes to dive into tier 2 or tier 3.
Right. Especially on top of everything else in life, like just trying to keep up with Overwatch League and everything that's going on with it is
hard enough.
Yeah. Let alone trying to learn the hundreds of other players that are
exactly
in these lower tiers and all that. So, yeah, I mean, and that was the thing, is like that was the first time that, like, the first thing other than the gauntlet thing, which was awesome.
Yeah.
It really got me interested in kind of watching some of the lower tier tournaments. And I think that's something that they need to really embrace, and I hope that they do. And I suspect that they will, because it brought a lot more buzz than we've seen. Since the start of the league.
Yeah, that tournament brought more buzz than a lot, like just like the Overwatch League in general. Outside of, like, it kind of has the baseball vibe where, like, you watch the start, like, a lot of people watch the start of the season, kind of check out the middle, see what's going on, and then you watch the last. And then you wait for
the post. Yeah, you watch the last couple weeks, and then you really start diving in for postseason, because that's when baseball is at its best.
Yeah. And that's when these guys play at their best. But the tournament thing, I thought it was fantastic. I just like the idea, because you have, especially with the open tournaments, you have popular streamers. You have all these guys, like, getting teams together and doing all this kind of stuff. If there was a guild system, everybody could do that and be good. Sorry, I had a little thing caught in my throat there. Guild system, Jeff.
Right? Yeah.
Next time when you're sitting by the fire, start thinking about guilds, or whatever you want to call it,
or team comp or something like that.
Yeah, some sort of team thing, because it's going to make the game better.
It will.
They're probably working on something like that. We just don't know about it. But anyway, back to
I would be shocked if they're not. Honestly.
I mean, think about this: you have teams and guys that are playing, that are probably like in Masters or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Not just like the kind of casual, but like, it's like a group of guys that go into these open tournaments, and then all of a sudden you're like, wow, that guy who's playing, it's a good jump start for some of these guys, because they're playing in a team environment already. It gets them ready.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
But the tournament thing, in fact, every team has a tournament license.
Yes.
I think it's a lot of things it's something that people don't know. You have a license to run tournaments. So this week, we have the Mayhem Winter Classic, which has a lot of big teams in there. There's like Vendetta's in there. There's like a lot of the guys that were in the last couple of weeks, like the Old Band Strength, and a lot of those teams that were in there are like playing in this tournament. And I really wish these teams would abuse this policy that they
absolutely
just even if you're you can get sponsors to give out the money.
Mm-hmm.
Even at your homestand.
Yeah, do a tournament during the homestand, maybe in the week up
on Friday
leading up to it. Yeah, there's so many cool things that they could do with that, and I really hope that more teams really start to take advantage of and really, like you said, abusing it.
Yeah,
I think that would be for the best, for the health of the league, for the health of the tier
relevancy
2
of the
and
game.
3C, and then just overall relevancy of the game.
Because they're fun. I mean, it's a tournament. It's professional, but it's a little bit more laid back.
Yes, for sure.
And it also gives exposure to some of the guys that just watched. I'm throwing DeFran out for an example. That watched DeFran on a stream play Overwatch and lose his mind or whatever. But when those guys like have teams, you know, when you get people like Fran and Caffrey and some of these guys that have a lot of viewers, you get them in. Hey, I'm on a team. We're gonna fucking meme the fuck out of this goddamn tournament. You know what I mean? Or whatever they're gonna say. But it also brings talent to the front.
And then that brings more viewership and just more eyes seeing the game in general.
Yeah.
And I think that really should be more of a priority for them, is to get it seen by as many people as possible, and people seeing like the depth of the gameplay of this game.
Yeah.
Because I think that's something like people just see it and they see the cartooniness and all of that, and they just don't really understand the depth of the gameplay and how much is really happening at one time. And
how fun it could be.
Absolutely.
Because you know what? That's one of the things that I lose, and I know you lose on occasion.
Absolutely.
Because we've been playing the game for 4 years. You lose this is fun. It becomes fuck, here we go. This dude's going to play fucking Diva, and we're going to lose. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But like you're watching these guys, you're like, oh yeah, they're doing different stuff. All right, this is kind of fun.
Right.
You know, you're watching it go, and it brings the fun element and the excitement.
Mm-hmm. It really does.
I think, and you know what? The first inkling of that for me was the Gauntlet.
Yes.
And I really like that format that they did on Tier 2.
Agreed.
And I think they can pull from the positiveness of that, and these other tournaments that are going on, and just maybe kind of restructure the way they run it. I think they kind of are, because I haven't really looked at at the contenders structure, but it seems more tournament-y.
Yes.
Than a week-to-week thing.
I'm pretty sure that's kind of how they have.
That's more of an esports standard.
Yeah, and I think for Tier 2, that for the health of Tier 2 and Tier 3 and all of that, the open division needs to be more prominent, and just all of those things just need to be more visible and more like that, and then you can kind of have the way that everything else is. Like, because having the league structured the way it is, like I don't think that's going to change. But
structuring Tier 2 in that tournament fashion kind of thing too, it takes a lot of the pressure of, like, I don't want to say pressure, like the burden of paying all of these guys for a full quote unquote season.
Yes.
You know, you're still a team. It can be a little bit more casual about it and hone your skills and do whatever you got to do, and then go into these tournaments.
Exactly.
I mean, lest we forget, these guys that like started in the Overwatch League, they were in like Apex and all these other tournaments. They weren't they weren't playing like week to week or day to day or how, you know, the Overwatch League. This Overwatch League's an anomaly.
Exactly.
And it's a good anomaly, but it doesn't work on every level.
No, and you can't. Yeah, you can't structure every level like that. It's too many resources. I mean, hell, even baseball is reevaluating that structure.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, college football is vastly different than professional football.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
absolutely.
You play 12 games. You take a month off. You play a game in a warm weather city if you're above 500, unless you're Notre Dame. And then there's another knock.
You just play anyway.
Yeah, because you draw
people in.
It's just, you need a little bit different. And I think this tournament, the way these tournaments are pulling people in and viewers in, I think that's a fantastic way to just keep rolling with this. You know, and one other thing that happened in the last couple of weeks since we talked, Elk, formerly Fusion University, and the Fusion got recruited, I guess, would be a way to Harrisburg University, who's got the big Overwatch League team, headed by Joe Meister, who obviously knew him from his time at the Fusion and in that organization. But college is another way you can go.
Absolutely.
I mean, look at what was one of the best tournaments that Blizzard had. Heroes of the Dorm.
Yes.
Different game.
So good.
But college teams, and if you get esports programs rolling, and as long as the NCAA doesn't get super involved, it'll be fine.
Yeah, right. Let's keep them out of it.
Yeah, I think that's another stepping point where these guys, they get to play, but it's also an easy way to convince your parents, like, I'm going to college and getting paid to play video games, man.
Right. Exactly.
You're getting what? You're getting free school to go play video games. All right. I'll bite on that.
Like, all right, fine.
Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, it's another way, but they can run college tournaments and stuff like that, like bigger ones. And some of these teams have the power.
Absolutely.
Right.
And I would love to see it. But yeah, that's going to wrap it up for this discussion. Definitely keep an eye out for our next string of videos. We got a lot of content coming for the start of the season because it is only 5 weeks away, guys.
Oh, and we got a lot to say.
Yes, we do.
Well, I have a lot to say for sure. On the time off, I spent a lot of time watching, looking, and I got some opinions. Some of them are going to be very unpopular.
Yeah.
But, you know, and unfortunately, some of them are going to be unpopular in my own brain for me to actually grasp. But that's not a teaser or anything. Definitely look out, guys. We are getting close. I am fucking hyped. And, you know, look out for the streams and all that kind of stuff, too. We're going to start doing more. Kel's back. I suck at streaming by myself because I don't really think you want to watch me get buried by a bunch of fucking black guys fucking around. It's just my life right now. I'm working on getting better, so I don't have to deal with that. I'm just gonna play Baptiste and Moira.
Yeah, I think really the way to do it.
Yeah, because I can still function as Moira. I have to pull her out every once in a while because I'm trying to learn. You know, you're trying to learn Baptiste, and there's just moments where you're like, the other person just switched off from Mercy to Anna and is just playing fucking Anna Sniper. Okay. I'm gonna have to go Moira here. Definitely keep an eye out. We are gonna be like hitting it really hard in the next couple weeks. Gonna try and get some people to join in with some of these discussions that we're gonna have on divisions. You know, maybe from podcasts from different teams, that kind of thing. We want some other perspectives, and we just want to keep this ball rolling. I'd like to thank everybody for watching on YouTube. What would be greatly appreciated is if you hit a like, hit a subscribe, hit that bell. It helps out. YouTube changed all their algorithms and all that kind of stuff recently, and it just helps us get into the mix. And if we get into the mix of like the bigger guys, the discussion gets bigger. We have more fun. So, and we just want to talk about the league with you guys, and we just want more people to check it out. So, thank you all that have been with us. Anyone that's joined recently, thank you very much. Anyone that's been with us since season 1, season 2, all that stuff, thank you very much as well. Also, all you guys out there in podcast land, listening on Spotify, iTunes, what have you, thank you very much. Ratings would be appreciated. Tell us what we did wrong. Tell us what we did right. And that also goes like on YouTube. Give us your feedback. We want to know what we can do to improve. That's what we're all about. We want to make this better for you guys and all around. Don't forget to join us on Discord. We're going to, obviously, the closer we get to the season, we're going to be talking more on there, watching matches, all that kind of stuff with you guys. Thanks a lot, and we will catch you on the next one.
Catch you guys on the next one. Later.